All right, for this new project, what I want to do is design a forged carbon, kind of like an accent piece that goes in here and kind of ends right there. So, and then here I just kind of want to have some kind of like design element, maybe like a little offset flare type of deal. But that's the game plan. So what I'm going to do right now is 3D scan this area a little bit in here. I don't know how well it's going to pick up because it is kind of inside of a pocket. But that is the game plan. And then on the CG side, we're gonna model this area. And I do kind of want it to flow with, there's like a body line right here. That's kind of where I want it to be. So I still want to have this red trim on the outside, like a lip. And then this little pocket right here is gonna be the forged carbon. So I'll record my scanning process. I'm gonna go get my laptop set up. And yeah, this will be the new project that I'll make a video on. All right, so here is the first scan, and as you can see, it got this part very well. Here, however, there's some red marks, so it's saying the scan quality is not the best. And since I really want the part to fit as snug to the OEM body panel as possible, I'm not a big fan of this. The problem I'm having is, as you can see, it's all black hole in there. So the tracking marker is having a really hard time. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna grab a yellow rag that I have, one of my shop rags. I'm gonna just tape it up, and that's gonna be my marker for tracking. And that should, in theory, fix my scan issues. So that's a little like tips and tricks that I use for improving the scan quality without having to do the dots, especially on a car. I do not want to put those stickers all over the car. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna record another little behind the scenes video and show the scan quality in comparison. So to kind of show you what's happening, I taped it up here and it's just dangling in there. So this is gonna fix my tracking issue, and you'll see how much better the scan quality is gonna be. And there it is. So as you can see the difference in quality now, besides where the black trim is, it captured all the details in green. So again, this is why I use the rags. It's a quick little alternative to markers, and it works so well. And since this is the area that I only care about, and you could really see in the scan that body line, that's what I'm gonna design my part to be kind of based around. So next is processing the data and then modeling the element. I'm probably gonna do like a quick little flat object first to test fitment. And if it fits good, then I'm gonna really work on a design. So that's the quick scanning tips and tricks. All right, figured I'd start the recording stage of this. I'll break this tutorial up or workflow project up into two segments. We'll have the digital side, which is the 3D scanning and modeling, and then I guess 3D printing. And then we'll have part two of the project, which is gonna be the mold fabrication, if you will, and then afterwards laying down the carbon and infusing the part. And yeah, so we'll have the digital side and the physical side. So this is the digital side. So again, I'm in my software, 3D Studio Max, and all I'm gonna do right now is kind of retopo the area that I need for my project. So what I like to do is I like to throw material on it that is very like kind of a dark tone, but spread highlights so I could see the body lines of the car or whatever it be. But this is just my typical workflow within the program. So again, very dark diffuse, as you can see. And then when I bring this value up, now the body lines are really like exaggerated. So I could clearly see where this separating line is, and that's what I want. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just create a plane. Nothing crazy. Convert to editable poly. Change this to on the surface. I'm gonna pick my scan. I'm gonna do offset of 0.1. And what I like to do is I like to add a pop-up note. So offset 0.1. And every time I open the file, it's gonna tell me that because this 3D software does not save this value. So anytime I close out the project, it's gone. So this way I don't ever have to guess what it was. So now I turn on extend, hold Control Alt, and I believe Shift, and now I could move it and it snaps to the 3D scan. So this is how I'm going to start creating a simple retopo of my part. As you can see, 0.1, it's not really, like, it will offset, but not enough. So I'm going to probably go to 0.2. Now I'm going to take a look at this, see how that is. And I think this is going to be better. I'm going to be able to see my my surface a little more. Yeah, so let me go back to where it says add pop-up note. I'm going to do 0.2. There we go. And so what I want to do now is with this extend on, I'm going to hold Shift, drag and drop. And what I want to do is, of course, make it all quads. So I'm going to move this up a little here, a little there like so. Now, the problem is it's already getting a little too dense mesh-wise, even with my workflow. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it hard to have very like easy looking straight edges. So what I'm going to do, so turn on Turbo Smooth. This way we start getting rounded, subdivided surface. I'm going to go in, do the hold extend, and go out really far. So I want to simplify my workflow as much as possible before I start really getting in on the surface. So we're going to do it like there. Something like this. And as you can see, you kind of make out the line of where the paint ended and where that black surface began. Like I said, I'm only focused on covering the red area. So there's that. Now we're going to go extend it there. And right now, all I'm trying to do is kind of place the edges around my car paint. So like that. And we're finishing it off right in there in that little pocket. Now what I'm going to do is extend it out, out, and out. Let me see. So here's the edge. So we will want to copy it out just a little more, like that, because I really want to like make it very nice. Now, the one thing I don't like is how this line looks, because even if we make the part, it's going to have that wave, and I don't want that. I want it to look as clean and crispy as possible. Probably not the best word, but I want the edges and lines to be very, very fine. So there we go. So now I have that. I'm going to extend this one out. Let's see here, there, and something like this. So I'm kind of working my way back. And then we're going to have to add another edge there, because you can see it's hovering a little too much. I'm going to add an edge there. Okay. Just going to go in and snap these like so. Perfect. On the back side. Let me see here. Oh, top view. I'm going to just kind of finesse it a little bit. Okay. So now what I could do is I could select this, and now bridge it. And as you can see, we have quite a gap now. But this will kind of give me an idea of how much I need to connect it. So what I'm going to do is select both of these. I'm going to do connect. And because I want the polys to be evenly spaced out, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do 3. And now, let's just do this. We'll snap it. Snap it. Try to like keep them where they were automatically created when I did the connect, so that way the topology is as nice as possible. Okay. Now what I could do is just bridge those two, because those will remain the same. So instead of front view, I'm going to go to back view. And that's going to show me the line, but again, I'm trying to match where that car paint was. Let me see here. All right, I can kind of see it. So I'm just going to snap those edges. These as well. Okay. All right, so now I have two more that I have to connect. So that actually kind of works out as is, but I am afraid I'm gonna have to do a little more, but we'll see. So all right, we'll do connect. And we have 3, we'll do 2. Now I can just click the conform thing, make this 75, this one's 75, 99, and that's just gonna automatically conform it to the 3D scan. So it's kind of doing what I was doing manually, but automatically. And the reason why I don't always use that is sometimes I like to make sure I have full control over where these vertices are laying down. So it's not always the ideal tool to use, but it is sometimes very easy and great way to like start the placement. So as you can see now when I'm bridging this, it's a little uneven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these 3 edges. I'm going to go to modeling, loops, loop tools, click space, select these, same thing, space, and that evenly spaces them out. Again, with poly modeling, spacing is crucial for good quality mesh. So there we go, turbo smooth. So that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to start working our way to the front, or to the, whatever you want to call it, the back, front, side. So let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, as you can see, we got an interesting thing happening. Like we have this edge, which is the PPF film, and then this is the hero body line. I want to focus on the hero body line. So right there, that kind of does it there. And this is why I'm going to 3D print the prototype to see what exactly is happening, because as you can see, I do have an offset and I don't like the way this is looking. Take a quick look. Okay. That's quite a big offset if you ask me. So I'm just going to move it a little bit like so. Maybe this is just going to fix that problem. And again, this is where it's annoying because I really want to have good fitment on this part. So, all right, so there we go. Now I'm going to do, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to connect this one and this one times 4. I'm going to do bridge there, like so. And now we'll just do conform. And let's see what that does. All right, that's looking pretty good. There we go. All right, so as you can see, we're having a little bit of an issue right here. We'll try to fix that in a second. So now what I got to do is work my way up or down from up here to the bottom. Now I'm going to do a little rounded edge there. Whoops, bridge that. Let's take a look. Okay, so that feels good. Let's see how the lines are. So we'll go from back view to front view. We got to offset this one just a little bit more. Okay, maybe a little bit more on this end. one's pretty nice. It's this. All right, so let's see here. We'll do that. We'll connect in the middle on this one. So just one. So now we could do this like that. Now 1, 2. So let's do that. All right. Okay. So now we got to do 1, 2 on this end. But prior to that, let's throw a little conform on here just to snap them to the mesh, and that's looking pretty good so far. So now we'll do this, connect it by 2. All right. Conform these. All right, things are looking good. We're going to bridge that up. And now let's see what we have going on here. So we'll do bridge, and this is a 4-point. That's it, perfect. So as you can see, that was a pretty quick job on the redo. And like I said, I want to give this some design elements, but before I start committing to putting any time into the design, I have to make sure this fits. So what I'm going to do, see how I turbo smoothed it by 2? I'm going to do it by 1. But this right here, this point is not rounding off. So I just got to connect it real quick. Now it's going to round off. So now that I have this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the file. Now I'm throwing another edit poly on top with just subdivision 1, offset by 2. Now I'm going to go back into the conform, and I could fix some of these hiccups. But now that I have a nice smooth subdivision, everything is spaced out evenly and smoothly. So now that I have this, well, see, I didn't like the way those edges moved. So we'll just conform that. All right. Now I could subdivide it one more time, and something weird happened here. So let's go back in and see what's happening. Maybe that'll be okay. Might just be like a little hiccup in the scan. So this is good. Now I'm gonna turbo smooth it one more time. As you can see now, it's sitting pretty nice to the on top of the OEM. A little bit of an offset, nothing crazy. So now I'm just gonna throw a little shell on it. On the 3D print, 5mm is usually where the flat part or thin part won't have crazy wobble. So I'm gonna do 4mm thick. I'm gonna export this out, slice it, 3D print a prototype, connect it, and then I'll record a video and see how the fitment is. And if it's good, then we'll do part 2 of the design stage and then actually give it some flair and make it look cool before we start making the mold and going to finals. So that was pretty quick. All right, got the prototype printed, and just for, again, the whole goal of this one is to make sure it fits to the body. So as you could see, the actual fitment area is really nice. I don't have any awkward gaps. Everything's pretty snug. Don't worry about the shell because the carbon fiber itself is going to be very thin. Here's a good reference of like this I made for the GTR. As you can see, very low profile. And then I use very thin gum tape as well, or double-sided tape. So it's going to go out right over here as expected, and no red body shown on the backside. So I am very happy with how this looks in terms of fitment. Next step is to actually design something that has a few, like the way I'm thinking is a few fins, kind of like that, just so with the clear coat, it captures reflections and highlights, and the material is going to look a little prettier when the sunlight hits it. So awesome, very happy with this, and design stage is next. So back on the computer, and then we'll 3D print one more prototype to make sure we like what we see, and afterwards, time to make the mold. All right, so now I'm back on the computer doing the part 2, if you will, remodeling this area. So right now, I created a simple object that more or less just has this area in focus, because that's where I'm adding the vents, or the fins, whatever you want to call them. And so I modeled it, and then I threw a little bit of turbo smooth on it, This way I could have a like a nice evenly spaced out reference for where the fins will go. So that way they're just all broken up evenly. Now, the only thing that I'm noticing is if I put a fin right here and then another one right there, this gap may be larger than this one. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say we select this, this, and this. And now if I do like the extrude, so as you can see, these gaps are closing up faster than this one, which is not an ideal situation for me. So I'm removing those edges. Again, these are all just my reference markers. And now I am going to space these out a little bit more. So let me do like 20. This is all just kind of guesswork at this point. So as you can see, when this touches, there's still a bigger gap. So that means that 20 is not enough to evenly space it out. So we're going to go back, connect, and 3, and then I'm going to do 25. So let's test this theory now. So there you are, touching now, and then this one's almost. So 25 is almost the sweet spot, and I'm gonna go for 30. That should take care of that. So 3, 30. Now let's see how this touches. Perfect. So that is good enough for me. All right, so the 30 worked. And now I'm going to hit cancel on that because I don't need to extrude. What I do want is these lines as reference markers. So I'm just going to go to create from shape. So let's do that. Now I'm just going to hide this object because I don't need it. These are the tricks I want. These right here. These are the key elements. So now earlier today I went in and I modeled this little like vent reference thing. And it's not bad. It's a little too obnoxious for my liking. So what I'm going to do is just adjust it a bit. So move this one out like so. And then make it a little shorter in terms of actual size. So I'm just going to take this, scale it down like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, put an FFD modifier. Then this way I could just flare it out like this. Now I'm going to collapse two, like so. I'm just going to actually get rid of this edge so it's nice and straight. So this is currently my reference. All right. So now that I have that, what I am going to do is select Effect Pivot Only, and I am going to move this right over here at the tip of the lip. All right. Okay, with that being there, now I'm just going to copy this one, move it over here, right click, use the placement option, and place it right at kind of the edge right there, like so. Now, as you can see, it's aligned to my body. Now what I'm going to do, same thing, copy, placement, next one, copy, placement, and the last one. So there we go. So now with that being said, is I'm going to do view, local, and now I could rotate it to match this kind of shape. Now I'm just going to rotate it down a bit like so. There we go. Same thing here. Whoops, that did not do it the way I wanted it to. So what the heck happened here? All right, I'm undoing that. That is weird. I could just eyeball it. Just manually, visually get it to align. Now what I also want to do is move my camera like this. So that way, I'm going to do view align, and this will tell me if my angle. So see, this is an easy way to create a reference of your angle, and it'll make sense in a second of why I'm doing this. So now, and I want it to be as close to that as possible. So I'm going to do that again. View align. So as you can see, it's a little too much. I'll move it down a bit. View align. Let's take a look. All right, I'm happy with that. Perfect. So now I could take a look at these. That feels good. Now what I'm going to do is just move this down. All right. That doesn't feel too bad. And then what I'm going to do on this, add a bend modifier. But what I actually need to do is to make it simplified. So I have that. Now I'm going to remove this edge. I don't want it. I'm going to remove this one. Now I'm going to go to my base model, turn off turbo smooth, and now I can see how many edges I have to work with. So there's going to be, that's going to go to connect to there. And I'm going to need 1, 2, and then 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do a quick slice right there. Perfect. And actually what I'll do is quick slice, a little bit offset. So right here, and that will make sense in a second of why I'm doing this. So now I'm going to do a bend modifier. And this will allow me to bend this, this shape a little bit more. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this out and bend it. So see how it's matching the surface a little better now? That's what I want. All right, and now I'm going to collapse that. I'm going back to quick slice. Now, as you can see, it's perfectly like matching up with my surface. However, see how this bend is a little bit too much? So I'm going to do it like that. There we go. All right. So that one is ready. And then I'm going to do the same exact process for these other ones. So go in, get rid of those. Even though I can leave that one, I'm just going to get rid of it for a second. 2, 3, and then, and actually before I do it like that, I'm going to quick slice this angle. Because now when I do this connect, it's going to distort the flow a little bit more to match that. All right. So same thing. Move this one out. Put a bend on it. Now we're just gonna. There we go. Perfect. Convert to editable poly. Quick slice those edges. Beautiful. And now the last one. So again, get rid of those, get rid of that. And this got really close to the edge, but that's okay. Now I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to throw a bend on it. And also, before I do that, again, move this one out. There we go. Perfect. So now that I have that, the next step is to cut up this design, because again, I want this to be really nice and smooth in terms of the blending. So now I'm going to go in and cut right there, like that. I'm kind of cutting right on the edge, maybe offsetting it, you know, like a millimeter or something. But overall, trying to keep it very true to the shape of the original one. So now I'm just going to target weld those points. This really is irrelevant now. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do is go in, delete these polygons, attach this object, and now I'm just bridging across. Go in, and I'm just removing that one in the middle. With that being said, now I'm going to take a preview of how this looks. So as you can see, that's looking pretty nice. Honestly, I don't mind the way this edge is really nice and sharp. At first, I want it to be a little bit more gooey, but I might actually leave it the way that is. But let me just check what this would look like. So that, there's two perspectives to this design. This one could feel really nice in terms of like machined finish. Like it was really well done with sharp edges. But this one could help the reflections and highlights roll better. So it's a gamble with which one might look better. So for the moment, I'm going to leave it like this, because I could always remove it. Adding it back in is going to be a little bit more annoying. So then I'm going to go in and do the same exact thing on this side. So like so, like that. There we go. Target weld this over here. Now this, I'm going to throw an edge constraint and just offset it down. And I'm going to just manually connect this edge, remove that because I don't need it to be there. And now as you can see that we're adding more of these segments, I got to clean up some of these edges to help it spread out a little better. So there's that. Might as well go in and delete all those polys. Now I am going to target weld this to that. Attach that object just like before, remove that edge. All right. Now this I'm going to throw on the edge constraint and just manually, actually I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to just do cut it over to there, remove those segments. That should look pretty good. So there we go. We have our second wing flange thing. And now the last one. And again, because I'm using this view that I manually rotated and it's orthographic, not perspective, it's giving me the ability to perfectly cut at this angle on the design without it being like warped. So that's my little trick to that method. But see what is happening here. This one, whoops. So it's ever so slightly penetrating. So I'm just gonna click on parent for the moving axes. So I could just offset it out just a bit like that. Offset this just a little bit because I do not want it penetrating my surface. So there we go. There's that fix. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove that right away. Now with this view, Quick slice that down. Perfect. All right. And now, just like the other two, go in, add a poly. Go to there, down, and just like that. All right. Now go in, target weld some of these points to clean it up. And then we'll just swift loop another one so I could remove that. I'm going to select this one, turn on edge constraint, and just move it down a hint. That way these are a little more evenly spaced out. Attach that one. Bridge. Bridge those across. Oh, and good thing I did not remove anything there. All right. So that's looking good. Now what I'm going to do is just go in. I just want to connect it like this, just to get a really nice clean line. And I'm going to do the same thing on these, because I really like a clean looking flow. And having all these edges just flip-flop all over the place is not very visually appealing to me. So there's that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Remove those. Good. Perfect. And then do the same exact thing up here, and that should really help clean up the poly flow. And last segment. There we go. So now let's turn on Turbo Smooth. Make sure there's nothing weird with the wireframe, and there's not. And there we go. That looks really nice. I'm really happy with how that came out. So now I could preview it on the car. So that actually looks pretty awesome. I'm digging this. I'm going to 3D print this next and test fit it on the car, because I really want to see how this looks before I commit to making the mold. And I got to see whether I want to keep this crispy edge or the softer edge, because both have pros and cons. So shot 4. So I'm gonna 3D print it. I guess I'll do one more in-person recording of how this looks on the car, and then I'll upload this section of videos to YouTube. And then when I figure out which one I'm committing to in terms of the production model, I'm gonna do the recording of the mold making and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's it for now. All right, so here is the 3D printed prototype number 2, or actually prototype number 1, because the first test print was just for fitment purposes. And I dig it. It's subtle, but it's there. I'm going with the sharp edges. I think these look a lot better than some gooey edges. But overall, I'm very excited by how this is going to look. And as you can see, because this does come out on the front of the car, the light will definitely capture it from different angles differently. So from above, it'll be pretty aggressive, and granted, it will be way more flush than that. So it'll be kind of like this. There'll be a little bit of a lip, but I plan to sand it so it's rounded. So that way, it will kind of help it blend more with the OEM body, if you will. But overall, I'm happy with it. I think it looks cool. And next stage is to design the mold, 3D print that, and then make the part. I'm very excited about this. This is going to be really cool. So there's that. You know, get a little further away. So as you can see, they're subtle, but they're there. And when the light hits it, especially when it's going to have clear coat on it. I think it's going to look sweet. So with and without. Even though this is pretty, this is just going to give it a little bit more of that forged carbon look. So that's what I'm going for. I was talking with my buddy Steven. He had some tips and tricks on how to get the forge to look more like that versus what I did on my first stuff. So I'm going to give that a shot, and hopefully it could be very close to the Lamborghini look, because that chopped carbon just doesn't quite look as nice as this blurry, mushy, kind of distorted look. And that's what I want. If I can't accomplish that, it's useless. So, yep, that's the next problem.